you have those formulas on your study sheet. Okay. For insurance, if you have this, you can basically answer any question if you just have these two formulas, right? I would suggest have an example next to it, but that's up to you. That's really up to you, right? So let's go to page 13. I just want to add a few things to your notes there. If you go about halfway down that page, there's comprehensive or broad, also known as standard insurance. You just need to know one of the biggest differences between those two. And I'm going to use that space that is right here. Yeah, page 13. So let's put standard here and comprehensive. Okay, let's put it this way. If you ever have a choice between standard, comprehensive, I don't know if I mentioned it, pick comprehensive. It's gonna be a better plan. It's gonna cover more for not that much more. Okay, but standard, the main difference is only covers, what did I put there? Only covers named perils. If you want to have a different word for perils, it's like stuff, your contents. So a standard insurance policy covers named perils, and comprehensive covers named and unnamed perils. I'm going to go named and unnamed. So what's the difference? Well, if somebody breaks into your home and you have a coin collection, right? An expensive coin collection worth maybe, I don't know, a couple $1,000, and you did not disclose that to the insurance company, under standard, they would probably question it, and you'd probably not be insured. If you have I don't know, jewelry, expensive jewelry, a really expensive camera, maybe something that's easy to steal, right? And it costs a lot of money. If you didn't specifically state that at the time of insuring, they probably won't cover it. If you ever get upgrade something, or you buy something expensive, update your insurance. Let them know. But if you go comprehensive, you don't have to worry about it. Comprehensive will just have it covered. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. So comprehensive, if you have that expensive coin collection or diamonds, or I know someone that has all the soccer balls from the World Cups. I've seen it, the actual official game ball, and somebody breaks in and steals those. I mean, that's a lot of money. You probably would have to have pictures or receipts or something. I would always say, if you have something that's worth a lot of money, lock it up. If you have a safe, lock it up in the first place. If not, make sure you have receipts and pictures and stuff of it, right? I would, because they would probably ask you if you just make stuff up, right? If somebody breaks in, you should make a police report. They'll give you a reference number. Then that reference number, if you go to your insurance company, they'll ask for it. So it's not just you can't just say, hey, they stole this, right? You're gonna have to have proof of it, especially if it's very expensive. But yeah, they could lie. If your bike is stolen, if you have a $5,000 bike and somebody sees you going to the backyard to the shed all the time, right? They break in, they steal that. I would have a receipt. I would have, about the serial number, right? Under the bike. Somewhere, if you flip the bike, there's a long serial number. Make sure you have that. Because if you have that means a lot, right? Because if the cops every year, they have hundreds of stolen bikes, and compound, and you can go and check if it's yours. And if you have that number, they'll believe you and you have it back, right? So, yeah, you know what? I haven't been in claims enough to know everything about it, but I would just say always safe than sorry. Always be. I have a PDF scanner, so any important document that I ever get, I just snapshot, right? And then just have a file like year 2022, right? And have all the important documents as a PDF, and then I'll send it to myself via email every once in a while. So if they ever ask, like, hey, do you have a receipt? I'm like, yeah, I actually do, right? It adds to your credibility. It makes things smoother. Just do it, right? So standard comprehensive, you need to know that. You also need to know, go with me to page 15 at the very bottom. I'm skipping a little bit just to make you understand. Page 15 at the bottom there. Let's say you make a claim, right? You make a claim for $6,000 and the insurance company approves it. Let's say you had a crack base, like something went wrong with your basement and they needed to repair that. How much will you get from the insurance company? The question is always, what is your deductible? So go and find the deductible. It's right there. The name kind of says it all. What the insurance company would be saying is, well, your $6,000 claim is approved. They go on file. Oh, you have a $200 deductible. So before they send you a check, they take off the deductible and they send you the remaining, right? So they're basically saying you're responsible for $200. The rest we will cover. Okay, so this is paid out. So if you have a $500 deductible, right, they would go 6,000 minus 500. So the deductible is taken off the claim, basically. Told you already, I have a $1,000 deductible. So for me, right, they would only send me a $5,000 check. I'm responsible for 1,000. Okay. I can tell you this much. I know enough from other people that have had issues. Like if your basement is flooded, I have a friend that's going through it right now. The insurance company comes in and they're like, they have a guy that knows a lot, or a lady, right? Depends. That looks and it's like, yeah, the damages are about 25 grand for this whole thing. So you can choose to do it yourself, or you can get a company to come in. If you do it yourself, you can probably save money and maybe make a little bit of money, right? They'll send you 25,000 and you only spend 20. The 5 grand is yours to do whatever you want with it, right? So it is possible to save a little bit. But if you make a claim, what's going to happen if you make a claim? Your insurance is going to go up from that day forward or from that year forward. So next year or 2 or 3, you're going to pay more because you've made a claim, right? So you kind of want to think about whether or not you want to do it. For example, I put a roof rack on my car over the summer for my bikes, right? Like to have the bikes on there. And my garage door, right? Like if I have that on, I cannot park inside. And you know, one of those days where you're not thinking, right? You're just driving, you're coming into your driveway, and I just heard it touch my garage door, and I stopped in time. It did a dent, made a dent, but it's okay. I'm not going to make a claim for it because a garage door, let's say a brand new one, costs you $1,000. What's my deductible? I told you my deductible is 1,000, right? So they wouldn't even pay me, like it wouldn't save me any money making a claim. Plus now I have a claim on my record and it's going to cost me more moving down forward. So I don't want to make a claim, right? So sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it does make sense to make a claim. Right? Let's do a little bit of math. I want to do a couple with you before I hand it over. So I will give you 10 to 15 minutes to practice before we do the AC. and I will give you the keys so you will know what you're doing. And there it is. So let's look at number 3 here. Page 15, question 3. Not enough space. I get it. So I'm going to make it work though. Okay. So now you want to put your thinking caps on. So you want to insure an apartment. That means that you're going to use the tenant insurance, right? This is how much you're willing to insure or wanting to insure. Comprehensive. It's a $500 deductible and you want it before tax. Okay. If there's a $500 deductible, right, that means we do not multiply by 1.10. If it's before tax, that means we do not multiply by 1.07. So these last two things, they just tell you what needs to be done towards the end, right? Okay, so let's go in insurance. Insurance is equal to, you go get your table, you go to, because it says apartment, you need to go look at the tenant insurance policy, that package, right? It's comprehensive. So you go over to the right here on your table, and you notice that if you want $120,000 worth of coverage, you're going to max out. Look at down here. This table only gets you to $75,000. So what you need to do is you need to grab that 454. So grab that. So this is where we use a square bracket. That's 454 plus. You need to buy more insurance, folks. So go get that 550 that's down here. You take it with you as well. Just write this down at least, okay? 550, but you have to put that over 1,000. Because it's like saying you're gonna pay $5.50 more for every $1,000 of extra insurance you want to buy. So what goes in here, guys? What do we call that? Let's look at the formula real quick. I'm going over, right? It says coverage is above max. So I have to figure out what this is. How much am I over by? So I go back and I go 100. So overage, write that down here. Overage is what you want covered minus what's the max on my chart. For tenant, it's 75 grand. Okay. And I will do this here because I need my space here. And that's 45,000 bucks over. And we're going to underline that because it's very important to us. You would get on a test or quiz, I would give you a mark for that one right there. And that comes with you in here. You're over by 45 grand. And so you're going to pay a certain amount for it. That's it. We don't multiply by 1.10 because we don't want a $200 deductible. We just want a 500, which is what you're getting from the table before tax. Right? So we don't need to multiply by 1.07. But this is where a lot of students make a mistake. Watch this. They want to do everything in one shot. Don't do that. Right? So you take that number with you, then you go plus and figure out what you get when you multiply these two. Okay? So you go 550 divided by 1,000 times 45,000. So you got to pay an extra $247.50 for the extra insurance. And then I add these two up, giving me $701.50. If I wanted a $200 deductible instead, you'd have to add 10% to this. If you wanted to know what it is after tax, you would have to multiply this by 1.07 yet, right? So the journey would continue. For us, it ends here, okay? So that's how you do insurance, okay? Let's do a couple more. This one here, question 4. Highlighter ready. What is the annual cost to insure a home, right? 120,000. Area 2, you want standard, you want a $500 deductible, and you want it after tax. Remember, these two things, don't worry about them until the end, right? So you almost the deductible and the after tax or before tax, you kind of want to ignore that for a bit. Just worry about everything else they're giving you, right? Everything else. Home tells you which table. We're going to use that big table that says homeowners insurance. Let me zoom out a little bit. Area 2. So we're area 2, standard. And now I need to know how much coverage I need. I need $120,000 worth of coverage. No problem. This table is right there. So you're not going over. Don't worry about that overage part. Right? Just take the 120. You match it. I already circled it. So it's $309 in this case. Pretty cheap. So you go over here and you go insurance. Would be 309. That's it. I will do this part. I will just cancel that. I'm not going to do that part because I'm kind of following the formula I gave you. But I do want after tax, so it's times 1.07. Okay. Maybe what you want to do is just write down that this is a $500 deductible, right? If you just get the whatever you get from the table is by default a $500 deductible, and then you just need to do things to it to turn it into a $200 deductible. So 309 times 1.07, and that's, I gave you the key already on Friday. I gave you the answer, but this is the worked out answer, okay? So when you're over, you need to do extra work with it, okay? So I'm going to ask you to give this a try now. You have notes, you have examples, you have the formulas, hopefully. So you have two choices. You want to continue working with 6 and 7 and 8 on this page. I will give you the answers right now. If you're done this already, I can see some of you being done. You go to page 9 in the workbook, and I will post that key to this on Google Classroom. So give you 10 to 15 minutes to practice before I give you an AC. Here are the answers if you're interested. For question 6, it's 667.70. For question 7, it's this. And for question 8, it's 468.45. And I will give a walk around a little bit. If you're stuck, you're not getting that answer somehow, I will help you out as long as you try it. Hopefully by the end of today, you get most of them right. Okay? So we have an apartment, right? That's important. What table am I using? I'm using tenant policy. $40,000. You should recognize that's not going over, right? Don't have to worry about that. Comprehensive, $500 deductible before taxes. So this is as easy as it gets, okay? So you go 40 grand and it's comprehensive. So you just write down the $269. We don't multiply it by 1.10. We don't multiply it by 1.07. That's just it. 1 mark. The dollar sign has to be there or else you lose half a mark, okay? This is yearly. All of these are yearly. Yeah. All of these are annual amounts. All of our examples were annual. And tenant insurance is cheap compared to. So you went times 12 with all of them? Yeah. I would, for today, just go -1 right off the top, and then we'll just focus. You should have this number on there though, right? Yeah, okay. So just go -1 off the top, and then we'll just forget about the rest. Hopefully it won't happen again. Next, we have an apartment again. We're over, okay? $100,000, so we're over. We want standard, $500 deductible before tax. So this has overage with it, right? So standard, I take the 359 and the 450 because I'm going over. So if you have the 359, you have one mark right there. If you grab the 450 and you write it over 1,000 like that, you have another mark right there. And then you need to figure out, right, like what am I multiplying this by? It's like if you're buying, buying stuff, you're paying this much per every $1,000 of extra. So overage on the side, right, I'm just going to go ahead and subtract the 75,000 max. This takes care of up to 75,000, but you go over, right, by 25 grand. So if you have the 25 grand show up, you get another mark. So 1, 1, 1, right? So one mark for each of those components there. And I don't need to do anything else really, right? Because it's $500 deductible and before tax. So 359 plus. This gives you 112.5. This part right here. And when you add those two up, you get 471.50. That would give you another mark because you have to actually do that computation correctly. So this page, this is not at a 2, it's actually at a 4 total, right? Lots of work, lots of moving parts, right? Next, you purchase a home valued at 195,000. Oh, there's that home, right? Homeowners insurance for 195,000. You should remember that it's under 200K, right? We're in Winnipeg, standard, $200 deductible, and you want it before taxes. So I'm not going over. I don't have to worry about that. I just need to go get a table rate. So Winnipeg standard, right? So Winnipeg standard, and then you match it with 195. So I grab this 678. That's one mark right there. 678. Sorry, 78. So you get a mark for that. And because it's a $200 deductible, you need to add 10% to that premium. And that gives you 745.80. That gives you another mark, right? So if you have that, you get another mark. So one mark for the 678, one mark for 745.80 because you added 10%. Okay. Next. This one was pricey. You probably wondered, like, did I do something wrong, right? Well, just trust what you're doing. I'm going over for sure. I'm home area 4. This is how much insurance. So you're over. I'm going to make a note right away. Wishes to insure home and belongings with a comprehensive plan, $500 deductible after tax. So let's figure this out. So insurance, I need to use that square bracket formula. I'm going to first off go and get the rates. So area 4, comprehensive, all the way down, 1,063, and the 519 because I'm going over. So I'm going and grabbing both of those numbers. You get 2 marks for that. So 1 mark for that, 1 mark for that, because you're showing me that you understand that this is going over. And let's just do mental math, right? take away 200,000, right? This part takes care of the first 200. You're over by 225 grand. You need to buy extra insurance. And so that give you another mark right there if you have that 225 show up. So you haven't even solved anything. You already have 3 marks, okay? And I'm going to go that plus, if I figure out what this is, hold it, I need to go back. $500 deductible after tax, so I need to do this here, right? Not the 1.10, because I'm staying with the 500 default, right? But then I figure out what this is, and that is 1,167.75, right? But before you go and rush and multiply by 1.07, add it up, right? Add these two numbers up. So you get 223075 times 1.07. And here's your grand total, 2386.90. So that is the insurance premium. It's always yearly, right? That you have there. So this would give you another mark figuring out the 2386, right? So we have 4. This is out of 4 as well. Get rid of the 3 that's there. So 4, 4, and 2, so 11. This page is out of 11. So at the bottom of this page, mark out of 11. It's easier to mark it or add it up later. Need to hurry up, guys. Need to hurry up it. Out of 11. I got carried away. 2 factors that affect your insurance premium. Deductible. The location of the house, right? The value of the home. I'm not asking you to explain, so you can just state. MJ? Yes. Overage. Next time put value of home. But yeah. Yeah. I'll give you the marks today because I know what you're talking about. Comprehensive versus standard. Right? The deductible. Do you have discounts? Are you claim free? Blah, blah, blah. All those things. You have an alarm. All those things affect your insurance. Okay, so you should have plenty. Even if you draw a blank, you should just think a bit about it. Go to the pink chart and see like, what do I even need to figure out my insurance, right? Oh, I need to know how much. I need to know where I live. Is it 500 or is it 200, right? All those things. Next. Tina is currently having a comprehensive coverage, $200 deductible. What can she do to make it cheaper? Change the deductible, right? Change the deductible. And the next one is change to standard. Change to a standard policy. Instead of comprehensive, go standard. Instead of a $200 deductible, I will say that I'm going to go to a $500 deductible, right? So increasing the deductible will help. Oh, we're out of time. Let's just stop there. The other one that I made you do, I'll make you redo that one tomorrow. How's that? So this is just out of 4. We won't consider it. So it's out of 15. 4 and 11 out of 15. Name and last name. I ran out of time. I apologize. So out of 15, name and last name. I can't pick it up, pass it forward.